tonight.
I heard,
An investigation is underway after Saskatoon police shoot and kill a man near an elementary school. Survey says most people want to keep Regina's Scarth Street Mall as it is, but the city may have other plans. Plus, why some queer people of color say Pride Month isn't always a celebration.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, June 20th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. A 27-year-old man is dead after a confrontation with Saskatoon police today. It happened this morning near Pleasant Hill School. Police were called to the area for a report of an armed man. Dan Zakreski brings us the latest.
all of a sudden, I heard,
Loretta DeMels says it was startling and scary.
it wasn't like, it was like a heavy-duty gun. It was freaking scary, man. I was like, holy shit.
Police say they were called to the West Side neighborhood just after 10:30 this morning. They had reports of an armed man. They spotted him on Avenue S South near Pleasant Hill School. In a news release, they say officers shot him with their firearms after a confrontation. Paramedics pronounced him dead at the scene. The sirens and sudden arrival of a dozen police cruisers sent ripples through the neighborhood. People who live there were curious and confused. They knew from experience that something bad had happened.
My son was already, Mom, somebody died. They pulled him out of the apartment just right there. And I was like, where? And he's like, right there. I said, how do you know? And he's like, I went and looked. I said, holy moker. I said, what are you doing going over there? I said, that's crazy. I said, somebody got killed over there. I said, don't you go over there. What the hell?
Police say they reached out to the province's serious incident response team right after the shooting. It will investigate what happened. Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
And meanwhile, the Saskatoon Police Board of Commissioners was meeting today to discuss crime and safety in the core neighborhoods and business districts. Executive directors of both the Riversdale and North Saskatoon Business Associations spoke at the meeting. They say businesses are losing money because of theft and vandalism, and they say some customers are scared to come in person.
At the end of the day, when it's difficult to hire someone to run your business, when we have families that have been on the street for 34, 35, 67 years, and it becomes a problem to stay open, to maintain your business, and when customers are phoning and saying, can you ship that to us? You have a great sale, we don't want to come there. We need to change that.
So our first recommendation is to increase police presence and patrols and have a stronger enforcement of the law. And we think that that's the primary thing that will be a bigger deterrent for any of the criminal activity that's presently occurring. Because I think that everything happens with the trends and momentum. And I think that the current trend and momentum is a negative one in terms of property damage and thefts occurring.
Both Moen and Shabilo want police to put a plan in place to make sure bylaws are enforced and have more police patrols in those areas. And the number of complaints to Saskatoon police about intimate partner violence is up 14%. That's why police are creating a dedicated team to respond to these calls. Family service workers and other trained experts will accompany police. They would also assist with victim support and offender management. One longtime counselor says it's a good idea and is long overdue.
I think sometimes when you're going into a stressful situation with intimate partner violence, having someone there to talk to kind of assess the situation besides police, people react sometimes to someone in uniform, authority figures, having someone else to step aside and maybe calm the situation down is definitely helpful.
Enns said she would also like to see more education in high schools to help prevent intimate partner violence. In Regina, meanwhile, 2 people were taken to hospital after they were stabbed this morning, and police are still looking for the suspect. It happened around 11:30 here on 17th Avenue near Les Sherman Park, just north of Sheldon Williams Collegiate. Police say the two people were setting up a yard sale when a man came up to them and stabbed them. Both were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect, meanwhile, left the scene. Police don't have a description of the man, but are asking anyone who has information about the incident to contact them. Regina's Scarth Street Mall has been closed to vehicles for decades, and a recent survey shows most respondents want to keep it that way. But as Alexander Kwan reports, the city is exploring several options.
Whether people like it or not, change is coming to Scarth Street Mall. The cobblestone street is being torn up for infrastructure upgrades. So, what will the street look like afterwards? There are three possibilities, three proposals. Keep it a pedestrian streetscape, open it up to one-way vehicle traffic, or allow vehicles during specific times. People here on Scarth Street have mixed opinions on whether cars should be allowed.
I don't think they should, because where's everybody going to shop? You know, if all the vehicles are be parking here, where are they going to shop? You know, all the stores would be all closed down.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's good, but I don't see really an issue with it.
Madness.
The other option is keeping it the way it is.
Keep it the way it is. It looks gorgeous. Like, look at this. Nice foot traffic going around everywhere. People happy. Little hot dog cart in the back there. You should just keep it like this.
Last year, the city conducted a survey asking residents what they'd want. 6,600 people answered, and 90% said they'd want to keep Scarth Street pedestrian only. Here's how Mayor Sandra Masters responded when asked about the latest data.
I think that, that opinion poll is important information to take into effect. I'd be fascinated to know how many days it would take us to get 6,000 people to walk down Scarth Street in some respects. If this is a matter of restricting vehicles, I don't think that makes sense in a winter city, but that's my opinion.
Regardless, a decision is still years away. More public consultations are set for this summer and the beginning of 2025. Council will be asked to make a decision on the general design later next year, and construction won't begin until 2027. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
Two women from Saskatchewan have won Canadian Screen Awards for their work on the show Little Bird. The TV series sheds light on the 60s scoop when thousands of Indigenous children were torn from their families. Aishwarya Duda has more on the women whose real-life experiences helped shape the story.
Your children were apprehended. They are under the care and protection of the government now.
When the producers of Little Bird were looking for a costume designer who's not only talented but also invested in telling the story of the 60s scoop, Charity Gaditsa was the right choice.
The characters in Little Bird are our family, like they are our relatives. They exist in our family photos, and we just have to find them because we're telling a true story.
Gaditsa's family is from Papikas's Cree Nation, and the show is set on a reserve in the same area in the Qu'Appelle Valley.
What I have here is some photos that was used by the set deck department when they designed the house in the 60s, the Little Bird house. It's my grandfather on the porch and my grandmother on the same porch, and we basically ended up using that exact porch.
She won a Canadian Screen Award for Best Costume Design and says her love for sewing came from her grandmother, Dorothy Pearl Pinay.
I've always been a hand sewer, which is weird. Nobody likes hand sewing. People like to use machines, and I love the fine details with my hands. And when I picked up beading 2 years ago, it's part of me. Like, I can't not bead now.
Nina J. MacArthur from Pheasant Rump Nakota First Nation won the award for Best Makeup. She says even though it was hard to relive the trauma, she wanted to be part of telling the story.
Coming from like the foster system, there were times when, as a child, I was taken away from my parents. So it definitely was very triggering while we were shooting it. And even like the social workers, I had similar social workers when I was a kid.
MacArthur also went to Lebret Residential School in southern Saskatchewan. It was one of the last ones to shut down in 1998.
I've been grieving for so long that after I won it, I was like, okay, I can, if I'm allowed to grieve for a whole year, I should be allowed to celebrate for a whole year.
MacArthur's been carrying her trophy in her backpack wherever she goes. And as for Garitza, she's celebrating too, both her win and her legacy.
I guess my grandmother gets to live on now. Like, her story is out there, and like when you do watch Little Bird, she's there. She's on camera. Her photo is sitting there in many places. So it's a way to just take back what was taken for like myself personally.
Aishwarya Aduda, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Well, June is Pride Month, a time to celebrate the 2S LGBTQ+ community. But some queer people of color aren't celebrating just yet. As Pertush Dayal reports, some community members say they face isolation, hate, homophobia, and transphobia within their own cultural circles.
The saddest part is it was not really as accepted in my own community aspect.
Tahabit Isham says he has distanced himself from Bangladeshi and the wider South Asian community. Isham started performing in drag in 2018, and he brings Bollywood culture to the audience under his stage name, Shonali. The wider queer community has accepted him, but not everyone.
With my own culture, however, the minute they knew like the drag aspect came into play, they would not really be embracing it as much or even talking about it or delving into it.
Isham says there is cultural shaming in many immigrant communities where drag is confused with being transgender. He's tried to host events for the South Asian community, but says people rarely show up.
Honestly, it does break my heart at the end.
A few of Jaideep Singh's close friends and family members know he's gay, but he says he has learned not to tell people in the Punjabi community.
In the community, to be queer, it's really challenging.
Singh says it's often met with ridicule, disdain, or being ostracized.
Sometimes I don't really feel, be a part of the community because there's no space for being queer.
CBC reviewed many local newcomer groups on social media and saw posts from members that were homophobic and transphobic. Some were discouraging others from allowing their kids to do pride activities in school or attend parades.
Not couple a lot of posts on some community pages. There are some people who posting really homophobic views and hatred towards queer people. There are like hatred and homophobia on social media in my community that I've seen.
Chris Alvarez is trying to bridge conversations with newcomers and immigrants around these issues. Last week, she organized an event to connect drag and queer artists with newcomers and other members of the Filipino community.
What I do see are the people who I think are on the fence or are wondering or are still trying to figure out what they feel or think about big issues like race, culture, gender, and queerness. There will always be hate and there will always be love. I concentrate on the love.
My goal in drag, honestly, right now would be if I can inspire one South Asian kid to feel inspired by me to take my footsteps and do drag themselves. If I only find one, that would be most accomplishing to me.
Isham says resettlement organizations can also help spread education and awareness about 2S LGBTQ+ culture while they assist newcomers with English classes, jobs, and housing. Pertush Dayal, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Well, summer has officially arrived and the sun is out in Saskatoon, where people were out walking near the river today. Now, is summer actually going to stick with us this time, or is it back to the showers and chilly weather? Tyreek will tell us in his forecast when we come back.
This weather update is brought to you by Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
Welcome back. Weather specialist Tyreek Reed joining us now for a look at the forecast. Ty, the first day of summer officially now, and actually feeling like summer too.
Exactly, Ethan. It is the first day of summer. Finally, this is not a drill. I am not kidding. We finally made it. The summer solstice began at around 2:51 today, and that means that the sun is in the highest position in the sky, which means lots of sunlight. This is the day of the year where we get the most amount of sunlight in one day. We're looking at around 16 hours of sunlight here in Regina and closer to 17 in Saskatoon. So yes, lots of sunlight. And of course, this also means warm weather. It didn't feel like it at the beginning of the week. It didn't seem like we'd get to this point, but we did. We're looking at daytime highs around 25 degrees in Stony Rapids. That actually might be one of the warmest spots in the province right now as we head down into south and central Saskatchewan, seeing highs around 21 degrees in Regina and even 24 degrees over in Maple Creek. So yes, we're definitely feeling that warmth that we've been waiting on for what feels like a long time. But of course, we're still tracking some precipitation, mainly to the west. This does have potential to turn into thunderstorms in some areas, so we are going to be keeping our eye on that. This system is going to be moving through overnight, and as we head into tomorrow, we're mainly going to see rainfall in central areas of the province like Saskatoon. That's where that system is going to start. As we head into the evening hours, that's when we're going to see that start to make its way to southern portions of the province, like right here in Regina. So you might not need an umbrella as you're waking up and heading out to work tomorrow morning here in the south, but you are going to need that as you're heading home later on in the evening. And we're still going to see those showers on Saturday as well throughout most of the province and into Sunday. So yeah, we are getting that warmth, but we're not done with the rain just yet. As we head into Saturday, we're going to see most of that accumulation in areas like Moosomin, looking at around 27 millimeters of rain. Also in Yorkton, looking at around 22 millimeters of rain. So yes, we are going to be prepared for that rainfall to come, and winds will start to pick up as these systems start to move through. We're looking at gusts at around 30 to 40 kilometers an hour in places like Regina. Now let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. We're going to be seeing a daytime high at around 27 degrees in Regina on Sunday. So if you're heading out to the Riders game, you'll definitely get to enjoy all of that. Stay hydrated though. It is a pretty hot day. And on Friday and Saturday, we are going to be met with some more rainfall as well, starting off the week with a daytime high of around 27 degrees on Monday. So yeah, Monday's looking quite great. And over in Saskatoon as well, we're seeing a daytime high at around 27 degrees on Sunday, looking like the warmest day for our friends there in Saskatoon. Finally, Ethan, all of this summer weather is here.
Yeah, I know we need the rain, obviously, Tyreek, but those few days there over the weekend with sunshine and warmth, that's going to feel nice.
Oh, it's going to feel great.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Ty.
No problem.
Well, a zoo in Chicago has welcomed 2 new cute and cuddly residents. Meet Brumbley and Willem, who made their public debut this week. The koalas are settling into their new home at the Brookfield Zoo. They are the first of their kind to call the zoo home in its 90-year history. And the adorable 2-year-olds were born at the San Diego Zoo and came here last week. Eucalyptus leaves are brought in twice a week to feed the pair. Stay with us. We're back after the break. Welcome back. The Edmonton Oilers are just 2 wins away from an historic comeback in the Stanley Cup Finals, and some Saskatchewan superfans are making the trip to see the big game. Jason Warwick has more.
Hello, let me show you where I've been watching my Oiler games.
Terrence Crosschild has been an Edmonton Oilers fan for decades. He has a large collection of memorabilia. That includes more than a dozen autographed jerseys from all his favorite players. He even has a red goal light above his big screen TV, but he's not watching the big game here. He'll be here at Rogers Place in Edmonton, watching the action live with a fellow season ticket holder.
It's going to be nuts. You know, the experience doesn't start right in Rogers Place. You know, the streets, there's so much hype. There's so many people, you know, in their trucks and their vehicles that are all done up in Oilers colors and flags. Here's our opening night tickets.
Crosschild and his friend could have sold their tickets for at least $2,500 each. but he says he couldn't bear to miss it.
I will hit the road, and I should be there in Edmonton probably around 3 o'clock, and then just when all the hype is there, and I will jump right in there.
I tried to keep it a secret.
Saskatoon child psychiatrist Madhav Sarda has also been a huge Oilers fan, even through the lean years. He's attracted a loyal following on social media with his statistical analysis of Oilers games, and like Crosschild, he's predicting an Oilers victory.
They have deserved the wins based off their overall play. Their special teams has been better than Florida, so they have a very legitimate chance of making the win. They were unlucky in those first few games, especially that first game. They should have got some more goals. So, I think there's a very good statistical argument for why they should at least take Game 6, and then after that, Game 7 is a whole different ballgame.
Hyman, does that have enough? Maybe.
Sarda and Crosschild say they can't wait for the puck to drop. If the Oilers survive, the 7th and deciding game goes Monday in Florida. Jason Warwick, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Back to Edmonton.
Celebrated Canadian actor Donald Sutherland has died. His family announced his passing this afternoon. Born in St. John, New Brunswick, Sutherland's film and television career spanned 7 decades. He won many awards, including a Primetime Emmy and 2 Golden Globes.
Looks like we gotta find ourselves another bridge.
Sutherland appeared in many other popular films, including Kelly's Heroes, The Dirty Dozen, Ordinary People, and The Hunger Games. He has been described as the best actor never to have won an Oscar for a role, but he received an honorary Oscar in 2017. Sutherland was made an Officer of the Order of Canada in 1978 and was later promoted to Companion of the Order of Canada. He was married 3 times and had 5 children, including Kiefer, a well-known actor in his own right. Donald Sutherland died after a long illness. He was 88. And Tyreek is back with another look at our summer forecast.
Thank you, Ethan. Yes, being met with seasonal lows tonight here in Regina, but those showers could possibly move in. Waking up tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, you probably won't need your umbrella, but as we head into tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening, that's when those showers are going to start to move back in, possibly even developing into thunderstorms later on. Over in Saskatoon as well, seeing seasonal lows tonight, mostly clear skies. Waking up tomorrow morning, we're going to be met with a lot of cloud cover in Saskatoon as that system moves in. And then as we head into the afternoon, that system is going to really start settling in, possibly even bringing thunderstorms once again. Ethan?
Rain jacket is on standby.
Exactly.
Thank you, Tyreek.
No problem.
And that is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can always head to our website, cbc.ca/sask. Subscribe to our CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel or download the CBC News app. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.